Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mex Mundo kitchen. Today's recipe is honestly super cool. It's a recipe for a rice cake, and what makes this recipe cool is you don't need any type of flour. You're going to use rice, so the rice you would use for cooking. And the second part, which is cool, is you don't need a mixer. You're going to use your blender. So honestly, it's really good for any health issues if you're not tolerant to gluten, or if you don't have a mixer and you want to make a cake. So the blender is also a super good option. And what's really good is the taste. The cake is so nice, so moist, it's sweet. You can't tell you used rice to make it. That's how good this cake is. It's really good. So let's get started. The ingredients you need to make your rice cake are 400 grams of rice. The equivalent is 2 cups. Make them kind of full. They're not very flat, so just use 2 very hefty cups. 125 milliliters of milk. The equivalent is half a cup. 125 milliliters of oil. The equivalent is half a cup. 3 eggs. 160 grams of white sugar. The equivalent is half a cup. There you can also add a little bit more. Don't be cheap with the sugar. It's nice or sweet. 14 grams of baking powder. The equivalent is 1 tablespoon. 15 milliliters of vanilla extract. The equivalent is 1 tablespoon. Okay, so let's get started. This recipe is super simple. Here, the only thing that needs patience is the rice. Why the patience? Okay, so like I said, we're not using any type of flour. You're using the rice you would use for cooking as a side dish. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your rice in a really big bowl, and you're going to cover it with enough water so that it soaks like really well in there. You're going to let it soak for 12 hours. Please don't make less time. You really use the 12 hours because you want the rice to soften up so that it can be processed well. What we're going to do is the rice is going to go in our blender, so you really need it to be soft. So once those 12 hours are done, you're going to strain your rice, and in your blender, you're going to put your milk, your oil, the rice, which was, remember, soaking for 12 hours. You're going to put the rice in there without the water. You're going to add your eggs, your baking powder, your sugar, and your vanilla extract, and you're going to mix it in your blender for at least 5 minutes. You really want to really mix so that the rice breaks down and it turns into a nice cake batter. If you think it needs more than 5 minutes, you just keep blending until you're certain that it's really processed in there. Once you're done making your batter, you're going to grease the mold with butter, really heavily greased. You don't want the cake to stick in there. And you'll pour your batter in there, and you're going to bake at 180 degrees Celsius or 360 Fahrenheit for 40 minutes. Once the 40 minutes are done, you can do the toothpick test, which is just poke the cake with a toothpick. If it comes out clean, it means your cake is done. You can take it out of the oven once it's done baking, and you can leave it on your counter for about 5 to 10 minutes. You want it to start cooling down. Once the 10 minutes are done, you can take your cake out of the cake mold and just let it finish cooling down, either on a cake platter or on even a cookie rack, whatever you want to let it cool down. Okay, so we are done making the cake. As you saw, it's super easy. I just made a quick glaze with some confectioner sugar and lemon juice just to add a bit of a kick. I love citrus flavors. Let's give it a try so you can see. First of all, let me show you what it looks like. It looks like a normal cake. You can't see the rice pieces. It's a nice fluffy texture. And the taste, of course, is super yummy. It's really good. I love the flavor of the rice. I don't know, it doesn't taste like rice, but somehow it has this special flavor. One thing about this cake, and I want to point it out so you don't say, oh, what happened? Not everyone's blender is going to make the rice as fine as flour. Mine doesn't. So you're going to have these little crunchy bits in your cake. It's not that it's undercooked or that, I don't know. It's perfectly fine. The issue is it has texture. It's a cake with texture, not a lot, but just these bits. And that's perfectly fine. To be honest, my husband and my kids like the texture in the cake. It's kind of like if you had walnuts or some sort of nut in it. It has a crunchiness to it. But it's very slight, and it's really good. The taste of the cake is super yummy. It's perfect for gluten intolerant people. Or if you don't have a mixer at home, your blender is going to do wonders for this cake. It's done super fast. You just need to do the soaking period. But otherwise, it's a super, super delicious cake. I hope you guys enjoy the recipe. I hope you make it. Let me know what you think of it in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video.